What is up, everybody? I'm here with Karla, who is one of our students, and I'm super excited just for the chat we're going to have. She's an incredible human and helps people with an incredible offer that she has, and I'm sure she'll tell you guys more about it. But welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Sure thing. So let's kind of start here. Tell us more about you. What all do you do?
So I'm a business coach for coaches. Specifically, I help people with their marketing plans, with their strategy. I've been a serial entrepreneur for 12 plus years. We've had every kind of business. We have a construction company, we have Airbnb rentals. I had a brick and mortar yoga studio before, and I've been like officially trained as a coach probably for 8 years now and doing that work. I lost my business in the pandemic, my yoga studio, my community, and that really had me want to focus on the online space and how I can help other people build their businesses in the online space. We're in like really precarious times, and going through that experience really showed me that my physical business was so vulnerable. I thought like building a
Mm.
business was my road to freedom. And I was shocked at how vulnerable I actually was. So I'm super passionate about just teaching people how they can build in this space now because there are no limits in terms of income or reachability or any of those things. Yeah, so that's where I'm at now.
That's awesome. So, what do you remember what it was that got you into the online space?
Definitely having like my business shut down.
Yeah.
I was scrambling in the beginning just to figure it all out, and I always did like a little bit of online marketing, and I was good at it. But what was funny too is my old online marketing was like the old way. It was really perfect. Do you know what I mean? Like we had perfect photo
Mm.
shoots and everything looked perfect. And I could never get past that like 5,000 follower mark. And I was doing all the things. I was doing it all right. Everything looked good. I didn't think it was especially like superficial. I was sharing some good stories. But when I lost my business, I really started talking about some big topics that were maybe pretty controversial. And I grew my social channels all of a sudden to 70,000 plus. And that's something that I
Wow.
definitely do with people now, helping them infuse more of their values into their marketing, be brave enough to stand out with some of that stuff, whether they're a coach or a different kind of online entrepreneur. Everyone's so afraid to speak out about these things that actually really matter. And it's been the thing in my business that has actually blown it up more than anything else.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think back to just like a couple posts I made personally. One of them was political, and when I made it,
Saw that.
I was like, I feel like I'm gonna lose a couple thousand followers today, but I don't care. And I posted it anyway, and I think I lost like maybe 50. And then like 90% of the people were like, "Oh my gosh, like I agree with this. Thank you so much for speaking up." And there was like maybe 10% that were mad, right? So,
Mm.
but of the people that, liked me sharing my opinion and agreed with it, I feel like they got even more bought in with my values and, me because it creates that, yeah, that divide, right? I heard Grant Cardone say one time, if you want to become president, the goal should be to get 49% of America to hate you. And then the other 51% will love you. But yeah, we'll dive into that more. So, how did you find my stuff?
I must have just seen you pop up on Instagram, and I started following you, A, because you kept popping up because that's what the algorithm will do. but I noticed that you were a Christian entrepreneur, and
Hmm.
I got baptized just 2 years ago, and that's been something that's really been important to me. And I've been in lots of different coaching containers, like you name it, I've done it, like masterminds, different business groups, usually with female coaches.
Hmm.
And I needed something different. There's a lot of amazing coaches out there, but just like there's a lot of grifts or there's a lot of fluff.
Yeah.
And I felt like I'd been in a lot of containers that were nice, like nice to be in, like nice, inspirational. But what I really resonated with you was one, being faith-based, but two, I was like, let's go back to just some solid, simple business skills. So it
Mm.
was the ad stuff that was pulling me in at that time.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, where were you and your business at during that season before, I guess right during the time that you found me? What were you doing that was working? What did business look like? Things like that.
It was a bit of a roller coaster. I knew how to get attention, but to be honest, like the drama of the last few years, it really had me distracted.
Mm.
And I lost a lot when I lost my physical business. I lost like $80,000 in the bank, and then when I started speaking out a lot of stuff about a lot of stuff, I lost every single follower initially. Like you lost 50, I lost 4,000 of the 5,000 that I had.
Gosh.
So there was like
Yeah.
no one there. And I made a decision that I wasn't going to give up and I was going to lean into that even more. So I kept leaning into that even more. I built a podcast that focused on political and cultural issues. So it was quite polarizing. And that helped me build a brand. That helped me build a following. But to be honest, I got really lost and distracted in the wrong metrics. So I don't even say wrong. Like it was the right thing to do at that time. And the
Mm.
brand grew and the community grew, but I kind of lost track of my business. I was building things, but I wasn't really focusing on selling. I wasn't even setting goals for myself. And I was really only looking at the metrics of brand growth,
Mm.
which, it served me well because I was primed and in a good position now to implement these things. But I was all over the place. I was producing an obscene amount of content. I was on stages speaking, and my revenue was like 30 grand one month and then like 2 grand the next. And I was
Mm.
really burning out. It was fun while it lasted, but all of a sudden I was like, I can't keep doing what I'm doing. And I don't know if I want to just be live launching masterclasses every single month and having to do like these podcast blitz. There was just so much content and I was just totally burnt out. So, right before I actually found you, I hired an ad agency because I had done ads in the past, like with my studio. And I was like, I don't want to do this. This is hard. I hate
Yeah.
Facebook. I don't want to be there. I don't want to do metrics. I'll just let someone else do it. And just right away, intuitively, I was like, why am I spending this money? Like, it was a good agency. They're probably very good at what they do. But when I added up what it was going to cost me just for someone to manage ads, and I was still doing like the bulk of the creative anyways, I was like, why don't I just take that money and learn this skill myself?
Mm. Wow. Yeah, that's I didn't know that. That's cool. So, you had the agency, you saw my stuff, somehow you got connected and ended up joining the program. What about um, kind of the model did you change? And talk to me about kind of like what shifted, how it shifted, and what you implemented. I think that would be super helpful for people.
Hmm. The first thing that I noticed when I joined the container, and I'll say too, I didn't feel like making that investment at that time. I actually felt pretty sick about it. And I don't
Yeah.
know why, because I've done this in the past and it doesn't usually rattle me, but I felt sick about it. And I
Mm.
realized it's because I told myself Like take this seriously or stop. And I think that's what that like was when I joined.
Yeah.
I was telling myself like turn this around or quit. When I joined the container, the first thing that I noticed was just like the high level conversations and wins right away. And immediately I was like, what kind of containers have I been immersing myself in? Because there's all these people
Mm,
talking business and they're like entrepreneurs, but they're not seeing wins like this. Like immediately I knew that these are higher level conversations with people doing like big money, big business. It felt like a good place to be. The first thing that
yeah.
I changed was moving from low ticket to high ticket. I
Mm,
started off my coaching business only doing high ticket. And then I think because of that loss in my business and knowing the very real economic uncertainties that people were facing, I thought I could do low ticket.
mm,
And so I had a membership that was low ticket. And I was like, I just want to help people. And I did the same thing in my yoga
yeah.
studio, like just this money martyr mindset where I'll just give it away for free and I'll just produce like so much content and help people massively and it'll be dirt cheap and anyone can do it. And it's taken a few years of me beating myself over the head with that style of business to really witness when people don't pay for things, like they don't do the work and they don't get results.
Yeah.
So the first thing I did was stop that and I focused on just one high ticket offer. I had like a multi-tiered offer suite. I had all these things. I took them all off the website. You can't even see what I have to offer. And I just started talking about our one high ticket one-to-one program. And honestly, like the rest of it, like the ads, I feel like I've only implemented like really 20% of the program so far.
Mm,
Like I paid off your program in 3 days. I stress so much about jumping in and I dropped my win that you were just laughing like emojis. You're like, I knew
yeah.
you would do well. 3 days in, I paid off the program. I just needed to focus again. I need to focus on one high ticket offer. I needed to drop all the other stuff that I was doing and that's really been like the biggest change.
Yeah, that's awesome. What were you charging when you were doing the low ticket membership?
The low ticket membership started off at 44 a month and then it creeped up to $88 a month and then I thought with like the large audience that that would work. But it's hard. You know, I have some clients like one is a YouTuber, she's got 300,000 followers and she's got a low ticket and you know what, she's crushing it. She
Mm,
actually is crushing it, but it's hard. It's really hard to
yeah.
do low ticket and stay motivated long term, them and you. So the offer that we have right now is around the $7,000 mark, and I feel really good about it. It's super high value. So that's satisfying that urge for me to get people results. It's over 6 months of work together.
Mm,
So it's at that price point where I'm like, we're going to do a lot of good work together. I feel good about the program. I feel good about the client results. It's high ticket enough that my business is going to grow, but it's not like I had a lot of ick around this with the other coaches that are selling energy or quantum codes and they're telling you to charge $10,000, $15,000, but they're not really giving people anything. And I was really repelled by that model. I didn't want to be
mm,
associated with that model. I think that's why I was doing low ticket as well. But I know that the space that I'm in business and marketing, we just have something really tangible that we're offering people, implementing
yeah.
a lot of the things that you've taught me how to do as well. And it feels good, practical, tangible, like we're in integrity with the work, but it's at that price point where the business is growing quickly.
Yeah. That's awesome. I I like low ticket offers. I'm actually in the program today doing a training on them if they're coupled with a high ticket offer. So it's really how I view low ticket is it's just a funnel that pays you into, the high ticket thing. But yeah, even, we won the school games and we were doing 297 a month, like a membership. And so like memberships were great, like you said, for people with big audiences. But if you have, you know, even less than 50,000 followers, 20,000, whatever, it is hard to get the volume because what they don't tell you is there's something called churn, right? So even if you have the best product in the world, the churn is still there. So you're always having to get new people in, and people, think it would be easier to sell 100 people 297 thing, but I've actually found it's easier to sell 3 people, a 10K thing, and it's more fulfilling because the people that pay 10K or 7K or 5K, whatever, actually show up in most cases and do the work and draw a line in the sand and get the results that really you were doing all this to create anyway. So I love that. How does everything feel business wise now after you implemented those changes?
Now we're cruising. Like I said, I feel like we've only implemented like 20% of what we need to do, but I know exactly what we need to do. And I think we've increased revenue by like 575% in the last little bit.
Wow.
One of the best parts is adding the setter. I don't,
Yeah.
I never would have done that before. I never would have had a setter before, and she's crushing it. And it's so good to have someone in there. Plus, again, I was distracted. And I have like hundreds of DMs every day anyway. So to have someone in there helping me with that, that's like sales oriented, that's been a huge game changer.
Yeah. 100%. That was the first person I hired. I think my second week, maybe third week, because I mean, I'm good at it, but I just don't want to do it. You know what I mean? And it's one of the, in my opinion, the easiest task to outsource and one that most people overlook for so long. Like people don't even know that they can get rid of that task, right? So yeah, I love that. Well, cool. Let me ask you this. For anyone watching who, maybe is doing the low ticket thing or has been watching my content for a while, maybe they're doing organic only, thinking about running ads, what would you say to somebody who's been on the fence about working with us?
One, I think like mentorship is essential. And I think coaching is a funny industry because it can really quickly inflate your ego because you're always giving advice. So the more advice that you give and the more wins that you get, a lot of people start to think, well, I don't need mentorship. Like, I don't need a coach. And the best
Hmm.
coaches are the ones that are continuing to get coached and get mentored. Like, this was a really good container for me to be in because there was a couple things that I just needed to get real with myself on, and I wasn't. I was distracted, and there's a lot of no BS conversations in here. Like they're pretty high level conversations. We're not messing around with fluffy coaching and stuff that we don't need. So that was really helpful. The second thing that was really helpful were the conversations just between members. Like if I had a
Hmm.
question, like the amount of people that were jumping in, like, hey, I can hop on a call with you and help you sort this out. I was like, really?
That's awesome.
There's some rad people in there. Yeah, and the method is it's really simple. Like it's simple. It's not complicated, and that's what like my ADHD brain also needed. The ad strategy is not complicated. Working on one offer isn't that complicated. Like it's not hard. So I've changed a lot of things in my own business, like based on that model, like make things simpler. How can you focus on like 20% of the things that are going to drive 80% of the results? Because a lot of people in their coaching programs are just stuffing it with stuff. And that's
Hmm.
not actually what people need. Like people are
Yeah.
busy and we have screen fatigue. So what are those just like key simple things that we need to focus on in order to grow? So yeah, if someone is stuck, I would definitely recommend them joining the program. I really appreciate learning from like Christian men, especially
Mm.
just different conversations. I've had a lot of great female mentors, but I feel like it was nice just having some male coaches here for a little bit.
Yeah, I feel you. No, that's incredible. So, where can people find your stuff
Probably the
if they
best
want to
place
learn more?
is, yeah, probably Instagram's the best place. Karla Joy Treadway is my Instagram. Karla's with a K. My podcast is called The Sovereign CEO. We talk about all things business, politics, and living free.
I love that. That's so awesome. Well, guys, make sure to go check those two things out. Give her a follow, check out the podcast. And if you're watching this and you're like, man, I really resonate with this story, and I've been watching your content, I want to get some help. Literally, what you can do is just click the link down below in the bio to book in a call. Super chill. We'll just get a sense of where you're at, where you want to get to, and see if we think we can help. And if not, we'll send you away with a bunch of free resources. And if so, we'll show you what it looks like to work with us. So, again, make sure to go give her a follow, check out her podcast, and I will see you guys soon.